Hi, I wanted to do a video talking about, you might have heard about this recent fiasco that's affecting Magic the Gathering, and basically the question, will it affect Pokemon? So first, just a quick overview of what's going on. I think there's been a lot of complaints from the player base and the collector base of Magic recently that there's a product, part of the series called Secret Lair, that is going direct to consumer. They're sold through the company Wizards of the Coast instead of through local game stores. And basically this time the product, instead of being some niche reprint with new art, is mechanically unique cards, meaning the only way to get these cards to ever play with them is in this version that is being sold direct to consumer. And so I think there's basically two main aspects to this complaint. The first one is the nature of being able to acquire the cards. You can't do it through booster packs or even just pre-constructed decks that are sold. It has to be in this way that it's limited edition. Not everyone will be able to get it. So obviously the price will go up on the secondary market. The second concern is that so these cards are themed as characters from The Walking Dead, the TV show. And it's, they've done that a couple of times, but this is the first time they're ever doing a kind of franchise crossover into Magic, where this is only, again, the only version of those cards being printed. The Godzilla cards and other Dungeons and Dragons cards were alternate kind of art versions of old cards, or cards that were not tournament legal and kind of just for fun. Those are the two complaints. I think, honestly, me personally, I'm not a fan of this at all. I share similar complaints. I think the decisions, whatever decisions went in at the corporate level to make this happen, are hilariously bad. I would be laughing about this. The fact that it's triggering these complaints that are totally justified, and that it's the show that I personally never watched it, but I know that it's not nearly as popular anymore. It's years after the height of its popularity. Who came up with this, right? I would find it funny if I weren't so invested in Magic, both personally because I love the game, and financially, as I described in a previous video, I've invested some money in Magic booster boxes, so I care about the long-term health of the game. But I want to take a step back from that current controversy, which seems most players and collectors are on the same side in that controversy against the company, but the broader issues that people have been complaining about in Magic, and all those videos and people saying Magic is dead. What is that coming from? And I think there's two big issues there. First one is format health, meaning the health of the metagame, and there are certain strategies or cards that lead to those strategies that are just way too powerful. They dominate the metagame. Either you have to play those decks, or you're going to end up losing to them. Lead to cards being banned, then more cards come out. Those have to be banned, and basically a failure somewhere along the way of playtesting. There are a lot of different theories about that. Whole videos of people who are know way more about Magic than I do. I'll let you watch those because I find them interesting. But my personal take is that does not affect Pokemon as much, right? First of all, I think Pokemon does a pretty good job balancing the metagame. It's been a long time since they've had to ban a card. There are a couple of things actually I like about the Pokemon metagame, right? One of them is even those chase cards that are staples in decks. Over the last few years, they've been making more of those. So again, back when I played, it was Shaman EX. You had to have 2 to 4 copies of Shaman EX in every deck because that would give you the draw support that you need. And then, when Shaman rotated out, they printed Tapu Lele GX, which doesn't do the exact same thing, but functionally serves a similar role in your deck. Every deck needs 2 to 4 Tapu Leles. But then they printed a few different cards that do similar things, not the same as Tapu Lele GX, right? There was the Alolan Ninetales GX, then Dedenne GX, then there was the non-GX Jirachi card that people still play. And so they've created different cards. You don't have to use the same staples in every deck. There are different ways of doing it. And the value of those cards went down, not only because there were different ways to accomplish the same strategy with different cards. You didn't need 4 of every single one. But also because those cards got reprinted, right? Tapu Lele got printed in that box that you get at Target and Walmart. Then GX got reprinted in the Trainer's Toolkit. The Jirachi card got printed in the Battle Theme deck, which I actually bought a copy of because it looks really fun. So anyway, I'm really happy with that decision. The annoying thing about the Pokemon game is, power creep, that it's you have to play with the most recent cards. Older formats don't work as well because the new cards are just more powerful. But that's a separate complaint. But all that aside, I still think it just affects Pokemon less because we don't know how many, but way lower percentage of the Pokemon card, audience is players as opposed to collectors. I have no idea what the numbers are, but I'd estimate it's probably less than 5 or 4 or 3% of them. In Magic, it's a vast majority of people are doing it to play the game. Maybe not the competitive, most recent version of the game, but they play with the cards. Very few people solely collect them as a percentage. So that issue, very important in Magic. It's been going downhill, but I don't think it's going to affect Pokemon, at least not anytime soon. The second broader issue that's facing Magic is this idea of cashing in on value. That basically the company sort of knows what cards are worth on the secondary market, obviously, and Wizards of the Coast decides, okay, we're going to reprint those cards, but we're going to do it in premium products that are more expensive, right? In sets where the booster packs are $10 instead of $4, the box is $250 instead of $90. We're going to print them in exclusive theme decks, and those theme decks are going to sell for $35, $50. We're going to reprint chase cards, but higher versions of rarity, right? Not just mythic rarity, which was introduced a long time ago, but these expedition style cards, and then there was Among Invocations and so forth. These extra chase cards that are extremely, extremely rare. And so basically what all this is a way for the company to cash in on the value that cards have on the secondary market. Because Wizards of the Coast, or in the case of Pokemon, the Pokemon Company, right? They can't just make money off a card that's already been sold. So they already sold the booster pack to someone paid $4 for that. If you get a $100 card, the company doesn't get $100, right? Unless they decide to reprint that card in some way, right? Either another set where you buy booster packs or an exclusive product where you have to pay more to get the card that you're after. And so from a strategy perspective, it's smart that they do that in some sense. But the problem is essentially what it's doing is raising the price to the consumer of the game, right? Whether that means playing the game or collecting the game, it raises the price. I'm going to explain, it's a theory, right? Then I'm going to try to explain that basically the more cards you have in a given set that comes out, let's say Pokemon or Magic, especially the more cards you have at a higher rarity, the more expensive it is for someone to get the cards they want. So whether I'm a player, I need the cards that I want to build a certain deck or complete a deck, or I'm a collector, I need the certain cards I want because I just like them or because I'm trying to complete a set, right? The more of them there are, the harder it is to get the one I need because it comes up relatively less frequently in packs. If there were only 50 rares in the set, I'd have 1 in 50 chance of pulling it. If there's 100 rares in the set, I only have a 100 chance of pulling it. So on average, I need to buy twice as many booster packs to get the cards I want. Obviously, not everyone buys booster packs just hoping to pull the cards, but obviously also it impacts the price on the secondary market in a directly proportional way. So I think that more cards in a set, more sets coming out, putting certain cards at higher rarities, all of those are essentially just increasing the price of the game, right? Whether it's cards you need for playing or cards you need for collecting, to the average consumer. And so who loses? The consumer, because it's more expensive to get the cards I need because they come less frequently or they're rare, et cetera, et cetera. Who wins? The company, because they're cashing in on the value that their cards have on the secondary market. And that is the issue that I'm worried can really affect Pokemon, right? Is if the Pokemon Company, right, notices a certain Pokemon, hey, Charizard, right, more popular, well, instead of putting Rainbow Rare Charizard VMAX in the same set as a non-Rainbow Charizard VMAX, we're going to put it in a different set. Now people have to buy, booster packs or Elite Trainer boxes, et cetera, with both those sets to get the cards that they're after. And hey, instead of printing, more cards as like the chase cards in the WotC area way back when were holo rares, right? 1 in 3 packs would have a holo rare, and there were 12, 16 holo rares in a set, right? So you'd have whatever, you can calculate the chances, right? 1 in 36 or 48, et cetera. Chances of getting a card you need from any given pack. So you need to buy on average that many packs to have about a 2/3 chance of getting that card at some point. But then you print cards at higher rarity, you have to buy way, way more packs to get the ones you want because they come up less frequently. And so this has just been getting worse and worse in Pokemon, not just in Magic, right? Because from holo rare, we went to, EXs and so forth. Most recently we have like GX or V cards, but then there's also the full art cards, which are even more rare. And then you have the secret rare, not secret, right? It's not secret at all because like they even put it in the guidebook of which cards, are secret rares, and rainbow rares, which are even higher tier. So like there's so many tiers of rarity, and so many of the cards in that set are actually at those higher tiers that like you could, as Jake mentioned in the previous video, you could open up 1 box of the set and get every single common uncommon. You could open up maybe 2 boxes and get every single rare, including the holo rares. But you have to open up, I don't even know how many boxes, dozens, to get every single rainbow rare, every single, full art secret rare. And so the prices of those individual cards just go way, way higher because the price of the booster pack has not changed. There's a corollary to that problem too, which is that it's not just about cards getting more expensive to acquire the cards that you need because of the higher rarities, but also that there's a sense of being overwhelmed as a collector, right? There's just too many things to go after. In Magic, I think they've had this problem for a long time, and it's frankly sort of made me less interested in collecting Magic, at least not just to play, but to collect. Because I could say I have some goal, right? I'm interested in some character. I want every card that has a depiction of that character. Or I'm interested in some set. I want to get every card from that set. Well, the more things that you're releasing, the more there is for me to chase after. Now, every single card has so many different versions in Magic I'm describing, right? So there's the regular version, then there's like the full art version that comes in special packs. There's a foil with full art. Then there's like, there could be the box topper version, masterpiece version, and then for multiple different sets, sometimes multiple sets with the same card that come out in the same year. There's like way too many versions of everything. It's not clear what I should be going after as a collector, and it gets overwhelming, and it has the opposite of the intended effect. Instead of wanting to buy more, I just want to buy less because I'm not clear what the motivation is. Not to mention, right, that the card I'm investing in, could get reprinted in the future. Well, Pokemon, I think, is definitely having that same problem for the same reason, right? Just more products, more different versions of the same cards at different rarities that are coming in different products. It's not clear what I, as a collector, what kinds of goals I should be setting for myself and why. Once upon a time, I could say I want every version of Charizard. Now, obviously, it seems ridiculous because of the price of the old cards, but even some newer Pokemon, if I want every version of that, like so many different versions to get coming every single, every few months, and so many different products. So many more products are not being sold as like a regular set with packs come out of the booster box. Instead, the special sets like Champion's Path and Hidden Fates and those that you can only get in the specialty products as well. So just to summarize, I think a lot of the most recent, complaints against Magic are justified. I've been feeling these broader problems for a long time, right? Health of the metagame, which I do not think is going to affect Pokemon. And the second issue of more cards overwhelming people, more cards in a set and higher rarities, which are increasing the prices of individual cards. That is a problem that's been going on also in Magic for a long time. And I think it's definitely affecting Pokemon more and more over time. So if I were the Pokemon company, what would I do? I mean, it's tough, right? Obviously, they have to balance. They want to cash in on the value the cards have on the secondary market. They want to cash in on the loyalty people have to the brand, and obviously the desire people have to get off these chase cards. They can make money off of that, and that is their mandate. It certainly makes sense. But at the same time, you just have to balance the short term with the long term, right? How much are we cashing in versus investing for the future? From their perspective, investing for the future means maybe holding back a little bit, right? Saving some, desirable cards or printings for the future, or printing less per year in order to maintain the long-term loyalty of the customers who are going to want to keep collecting the game, keep coming back to it, keep getting excited when something new is coming out because it hasn't been so diluted by the number of products, the number of cards in each product, and the higher rarity of those cards in the product. So hopefully that was helpful. I don't want to end with this message of doom and gloom, like either Magic is dying or Pokemon dying. I don't see that happening anytime soon. But I'm very invested personally and financially in the long-term success of both of those hobbies. And I really, really hope that the attitude goes back to kind of this older school of thought, which is get people's long-term interest in the game, be a little bit more restrained in sort of the mass outpouring of new products and things for people to buy. So it can be fun to go after the cards you need, it can be fun to play the game and collect it.